Most people, when they hear about climate change migration, they think of the future, when in fact people should already be realizing that climate change migration is happening now. Recently I went to Bolivia to study how water stress is beginning to impact on human migration. We went to the south of Bolivia, called the Chaco, which has been suffering from a severe drought for the last several years, in fact. We found that the drought is very much implicated as a factor in causing people to migrate. Because of the microclimate being different in different places, some communities, maybe 50% of the people had left, and we could see that demonstrated through a lot of empty houses, abandoned houses, where there was just a little bit of wire, keeping the door shut. They didn't even have a lock. It was just a bit of cloth or a wire. I mean, people had left quickly because they were so desperate.
El terreno se ve bien que no puede dar casi nada y está la parte tierra más dura, por esta parte es que no da casi nada la producción.
Deforestation leads to climate change as well, in that it impacts the microclimate. There's less humidity in the air, so it gets drier and warmer, but also that in the very places where trees stabilize the soil, now they don't. And so we saw whole hillsides sort of falling apart. Also, when the rains do come, they just wash everything away quickly. The Chacaltaya is known to be the highest lying skiing region in the world. It's just outside of La Paz, maybe a 1 or 2 hour drive away. Basically, the whole glacier melted away a few years ago, so there's no more skiing there.
En este momento, como pueden comprobar ustedes, estamos visitando la pista de esquí más alta del mundo, considerada hasta hace unos 20 años atrás.
In the recent years, people have become concerned about the future of La Paz, because with all the glaciers melting in the Andes, the water supply of cities like La Paz is very much in question. So people have raised this as a possibility. What's the future of La Paz going to be like if water supplies are threatened? And so this has been featured in the media, left, right, and center. And at the same time, people are still flocking to La Paz. So each year it grows, and going there and driving around, seeing a lot of this ramshackle construction work springing up, you can really tell that the city is growing by leaps and bounds. Unless the city itself takes some measures to manage its water supplies into the future, it will face some significant water stress. There are a number of hotspots where climate change migration will play out, and is actually beginning to play out already. One being the small island states, very low-lying, susceptible to sea level rise. Water-stressed regions such as I went to survey in Bolivia. Then you have coastal megacities, very much under threat as well. And then deltaic regions such as Bangladesh, Mekong, Irrawaddy Delta, even the Nile Delta being hugely at risk because of huge populations living together. There's a growing awareness in the development community that disasters destroy development, preparedness protects progress. So same with migration. If you can anticipate what's likely to happen, prepare for it and expect it to happen and be ready with it, for it to face it with certain measures in place, it's much preferred. Reforestation initiatives, large scale, could bring humidity back into a lot of the really dry areas. Another thing that was mentioned, rain harvesting, would be very successful because oftentimes when it rains, it pours. I happened upon one really elaborate rain catchment system where they had this big gym with this huge roof, and it was catching all the rain and collecting it in a huge tank, and the whole community was benefiting. So to retrofit a lot of these outdoor gyms would be a fairly simple and straightforward way to catch the rain during those dry times. Are people being trained to anticipate and expect city life? A lot of people in the communities have absolutely no idea what city life is. They have dreams and illusions about what the city will offer, but totally unrealistic. And so they're just ill-prepared to face a lot of realities in the cities. So there's a lot of advocacy work that could be done in that area to prepare people for what to expect. I mean, people try and do away with climate change migration because it's impossible to prove that climate change is the driver. But what I always think, if that's impossible to prove, I think it's even more ridiculous to say that climate change is therefore not implicated in a lot of the migration that's happening, because I saw it there and then.